Okay, now we're going to see Felipe II, son of Carlos I of Spain, fifth of Germany, right? And he obviously inherits from the crown of Spain, from his father, a huge swath of the world, especially the New World, right? You have the Tria Tordesillas, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, that gives us a bit to Portugal, but besides that, he's got tons from Spain already. So here we've got the Philippines, right? Felipe. And then later, he also manages to inherit the kingdom of Portugal because their king dies without an heir in 1580. So that gives him all this green territory, right? They have tons of colonies along the coast of Africa, right? Parts of India, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and Brazil. So he's in control of both of those kingdoms and therefore most of the world, right? Here's his seal. You need to be able to recognize it. There's a super easy trick. He's the only Spanish king that has Portugal that we saw. So if you see Portugal, you know it's Felipe II, right? You don't have to get more confused about that. He establishes Madrid as the capital, right? How does he strengthen the administration? I'm not so concerned that you know all the details, but I want you to remember that he strengthened the administration, strengthening central power, and again, being more of an absolute monarch, taking power away from the nobles. He keeps viceroys who govern in his name. Why? Because he has all this territory to worry about. So what he does is he sends people he has a lot of trust in to represent him in all of these areas who are called viceroys, which are basically vice kings, right? Who do exactly what he says. They don't make any decisions. They tell him what's going on, he tells them what to do. Okay, a couple problems he has. The Moriscos. He did not allow them, they were the Muslims who converted to Christianity. He did not allow them to speak Arabic and to sort of practice their non-religious customs because he was so terrified of the Ottoman Turks. He thought that they would be like spies for the Ottoman Turks. So he limited their freedom, of course, as what usually happens. They had a big rebellion because of that in the Alpujarras in Granada, right? He squashes the rebellion with his troops and forces them to move to disperse, which means to move all around different areas in Castile, right? Instead of being concentrated on Andalusia. Okay? He tries to influence the institutions of Aragon. This is a terrible idea. There's a big revolt in 1589. Remember, the Aragonese people have had their fueros, right? They're not at all into the king having so much power over them. He again suppresses the rebellion with this new army he has, as we see again and again, and then appoints another direct representative who answers only to him, who's called the Justicia Mayor of Aragon. Okay? So the king's representative there. Control them. Foreign policy, again, fighting with the French for control of the Mediterranean, and then eventually makes an alliance with the Pope in Rome to fight against the Turks in the Mediterranean, and eventually we get a definitive battle called the Battle of Lepanto, which is very famous, right, and defeats the Turks. You'll remember that we talked about the Spanish Armada, which was supposedly invincible. As he's controlling the Protestants, or trying to control the Protestants in the Netherlands, England begins to support the Protestants because England hates the Catholics because of their own issues with Anglicanism, right? And so we get this sort of personal vendetta with Elizabeth, tries to attack England. There's a terrible storm, and basically the entire fleet of the famous invincible Spanish Armada sinks, and it's all destroyed. Okay? The other part is important.